This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Something is going on with LeBron. He was given an excused absence from Wednesday's practice and film session. Lakers coach J.J. Redick said LeBron is taking some time away from the team. LeBron has not been with the team since Sunday's win over Portland. He sat out that game with a sore left foot. Redick is uncertain if LeBron will be with the Lakers for Friday's game at Minnesota. It looks like there's been a change in thinking about Bronny James playing road games in the G League with the South Bay Lakers. LeBron's son will be with South Bay for tonight's game in Tempe, Arizona against the Valley Suns. This will be Bronny's first road game with South Bay. Crucial game for the Rams tonight at San Francisco. The Rams need a win to stay in contention in the NFC West. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford is going for his fifth straight game without an interception. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join us in celebrating the season of giving by being part of the solution. As we enjoy great food, family, warmth, and well wishes in whatever our festive tradition may be, we share the beauty of the season by reaching out to the less fortunate. Please help us to help others with the KBLA Cover the Houseless Cozy Community Coat and Blanket Drive. All you have to do is drop off new or clean, gently used winter coats and blankets in the KBLA lobby during business hours. Now through December 20th, all of the coats and blankets will be donated to unsheltered individuals and families experiencing houselessness. Simply bring your donation to 4434 Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, near Vernon Avenue, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. That's 4434 Crenshaw in historic Leimert Park. During the holidays and every day, let's remember, we keep us safe. We keep us warm. We are the safety net, and together we can cover the unsheltered. Get caught up in the spirit of the season, the spirit of love. Make a difference with your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm thrilled to have you with us in this hour. As promised, a conversation with nutritionist and author Maya Feller on her favorite soulful holiday recipes. Her book is Eating from Our Roots, 80-plus healthy home-cooked favorites from cultures around the world. Once again, Eating from Our Roots, 80-plus healthy home-cooked favorites from cultures around the world. I am delighted to welcome Maya Feller to this program. Maya Feller, how are you today?
I am doing so well. Thank you for having me. How are you today?
If I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I am doing well, and I am thrilled to be in conversation with you for the hour. A lot to talk about as we are headed into, I should say more deeply headed into the holiday season. This audience knows, I just said this last hour, as a matter of fact, I'm always fascinated by people's backstories, and sometimes I find that the sweet spot is the backstory. So tell me about how one gets on the path to becoming a nutritionist and writing books with healthy recipes. Just give me a bit of your backstory, how this lane came to you, how you got in this lane, I should say.
So yesterday I was giving a book talk, and I was signing some books, and someone came up to me at the end of it, Tavis, and they said, "You are a very interesting person." And I said, "Really? Thank you."
Hey, Maya, stop. Before you go forward, I'm looking at people around me in the studio here, and they're laughing because if you spend any time around me, you learn that my least favorite word in the entire English language is interesting. I hate the word interesting. I find myself using it from time to time to make a particular point, but I hate the word interesting. I tell my friends, if I ask you a question, what do you think about this? You're like, interesting. But that ain't telling me nothing, Negro. You ain't told me nothing. When you say interesting, I don't know how to take that. There is nothing that is revelatory about the word interesting. It is the most uninteresting word in the English language. So I want to just jump in and say that. So here you got somebody saying, you are an interesting person. Did you know how to take that, Maya Feller?
Listen, I did not know how to take that. I have to tell you, you have to peel me up off the floor right now. I'm holding my side, laughing so hard. I wish we were in the studio together because we would just be kikiing all day long.
I wish you were too, but I'm glad I got you. So the person walks up to you and says, "You're an interesting person." And what did they say after that?
So, and then they just smiled and they nodded their head. But you know what? My understanding of that was that they didn't know what to make of me. Because when you see a Black woman in nutrition, number one, a dietitian, we're like 2.7% of the dietetics population. So we are a minority within a minority. And I'm sure that some of the things that I said, it was the first time that they'd heard anyone talk about nutrition and the intersection of nutrition and culture in that way. And I also don't think that they expected me to say that I came from this deeply academic, Afro-Caribbean, radical family. So I think it was my whole backstory probably shook them, and they looked at me and they're like, that's not what I was expecting. So they came up interesting.
Yeah. Give me more. Since we're there, let's keep going. Give me more about the Maya Feller backstory.
Absolutely. So before I became a dietitian, I was actually studying experimental theater. And I always think that it is so interesting that my parents were game for me to study experimental theater and philosophy. So it's like two of the least lucrative study paths that any graduate could take.
That's funny, but it's true.
You know, and they were like, yeah, that's okay. Go ahead and do that. And I was like, that's so kind. Thank you. And the thing that I say about both of those things is that in the experimental theater, I had to learn to listen. And I had to learn to listen and then actually help and be a part of whatever was going on the stage. So it wasn't just reaction. It was like listening and then also being intuitive with whoever my stage partner was. And in philosophy, we had so much ethics, talking about what was morally correct, what did it look like in the context of the larger society. And I really believe that those two paths of study, even though I didn't actually execute them at all in my life, informed how I entered into nutrition. So I already came in with this idea that the person that I am taking care of, is number one, inherently valuable, right? So I'm not any better than them because I have a credential. I'm actually there to learn about them and listen. And I'm also there to think about that individual in the context of the larger society and structures that may have had an impact on where they are with their health journey in that moment. So that informed how I entered into dietetics, and then add my family on top of it, coming from this Afro-Caribbean, so Trinidad and Tobago and Haiti, both parents, PhDs, really interesting, not your favorite word, but these backgrounds where they studied and they thought about critical race theory before it was a cool thing or something that folks were really even talking about. And they thought about equity and justice as having places in academic classrooms, and they thought about Black studies. So that is how I came up. And then you add all of that interesting theater and avant-garde and philosophy, and then you end up with a dietitian who's like, no, I'm actually here to help folks.
Sometimes I can tell in the first 10 minutes whether it's going to be a great hour or whether I'm going to have to trudge through it. I can tell you now it's going to be a great hour with Maya Feller. Her book is called Eating from Our Roots, 80 plus healthy home-cooked favorites from cultures around the world. I look forward to the rest of the hour when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
The revolution will not be televised.
This is Brother Cornell West. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm full of joy and delight to announce that I'm joining the precious family at KBLA Talk 1580, founded and led by my dear brother Tavis Smiley himself. Yes, the name of the show is Truth Time, and I'll be working with the inimitable Nina Turner out of Cleveland, Ohio, sister of great vision, and we will be on weekdays at 12 noon. We will be following Brother Tavis Smiley's show. We will begin Monday, January the 6th. That's right, Monday, January the 6th. Get ready for a different kind of insurrection. We coming with Martin Luther King Jr. and Fannie Lou Hamer and Curtis Mayfield and Aretha Franklin, and gonna add a little Gil Scott-Heron too, as Nina Simone sits at the center. That's right.
The revolution will be live.
That's what we gonna do. Please come with us on this fantastic voyage.
The revolution will put you in the driver's seat.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
Let's go. Presents and cards are here. My world is filled with cheer and you. This Christmas, and as I look around, your eyes are shine the town blue. This Christmas, the fireside is blazing bright, and we're caroling through the night. And this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me.
Chris Breezy. That song has been covered by everybody. This Christmas, you all know my friend Nadine McKenna out of Chicago wrote that song, working in the post office in Chicago. Wanted to get the song to Curtis Mayfield, and she didn't have a connection to Curtis Mayfield, but somebody said they knew a guy named Donny Hathaway, and they introduced Nadine McKenna to Donny Hathaway, and the rest, as they say, is history. It is the best anthem for any holiday, written by a black person and performed by an African American. 50 plus years later, we're still playing This Christmas. Turn it up, Miles. Our guest in this hour is nutritionist and author Maya Feller. Her book is called Eating from our roots, 80-plus healthy home-cooked favorites from cultures around the world, and I'm delighted to have her on this program. Before I go forward, let me go backwards one more again, Maya Feller. I am fascinated by what it must have been like to have been raised in a household with two PhD parents. In some ways, I'm inspired by that. In other ways, I can imagine the torture that one must endure when both of your parents are PhDs. Tell me more.
And let me tell you, Brother Tavis, the torture is real. So that's why I said I was so surprised when I said, I'm going to go study experimental theater and philosophy, that they said, sure. And especially for them both being from the Caribbean. It was, to me, a surprise, truthfully. So by the time I was in college, they were actually no longer together. So they were in two separate homes.
Sure.
But I was the kid that we went and we marched. My parents organized conferences, and I regularly had women from the third wave of feminism, Angela Davis, Bell Hooks, Audre Lorde, come to the dining room table, and that was what I grew up with. And so I believed that as a young Afro-Caribbean woman, that if I could dream it, I could do it. Because that's what I saw. I saw people saying, we're going to go out here and make change, and we're going to do. So it never crossed my mind that someone could stand in my way.
At what point in I'm now you've taken my breath away. At what point in your life did you look back and realize, truly realize what you had been exposed to when you got Audre Lorde and Bell Hooks and Angela coming to your house? When did you realize how blessed you were in your childhood?
I honestly think that it was in college. So when I was at home with my mom, so my mom is M. Jacqueline Alexander, and when I was at home with her, she was just mom. And I knew that when she was organizing these conferences and that these women were coming in and out, that's just what they did. I didn't think it was any different. Granted, also, this was a very particular time, I would say in the late 80s, early 90s in Massachusetts, where you still had this kind of activism going on, and you still had a lot of grassroots work coming out of academic institutions, and also families that had kids that were just in the periphery. So I had other friends, too, whose parents were doing now what I know to be extraordinary.
Yeah. It is, you're making me jealous and envious, too, that you had access to those kinds of persons at your kitchen table. It is, it's a fascinating backstory, and now you understand why I love the backstory to people's lives. It informs the conversation in ways that are unknown to me until I actually hear the responses. So thank you for sharing that. Let me press forward now. Broadly speaking, and we'll narrow this as we move ahead here. But broadly speaking, talk to me as you see it about this intersection, to quote you, of nutrition and culture.
So one of the things that happened when I was in graduate school was that I got, how I refer to it, as indoctrinated. When you become a dietitian, you are taught that there's the quote-unquote right way to eat, and that we learn USDA, My Plate, and we learn that people should have half their plate as a non-starchy vegetable, and the pictures used to be steamed broccoli, and then the other quarter is brown rice, and then the other quarter is grilled chicken. And we get told over and over and over again that if people don't do that, they're making a mistake. And then the implicit undercurrent in the conversation is if they present to you with a diagnosis of diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and they're not eating that plate, well, somehow it's their fault. And the other part that we got in the textbooks that was completely implicit was every chapter had a little paragraph at the end that said something about a quote-unquote other group. So if we're talking about religion, it would be these people eat halal, those people eat kosher, but always from the perspective of the other.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about chronic disease, we heard things like the diabetes belt, referring to where Black folks live in the southern part of the U.S. And it was always Black people are at higher risk for getting. Latino, in the books it says Hispanic people are at higher risk for getting. Fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
There was never a discussion about social determinants of health, structural inequities, or racism. And so I went through school after coming from this upbringing that I had, and all the summers that I spent going back to the Caribbean thinking, oh my goodness, I never saw anyone eating a plate of broccoli, brown rice, and grilled chicken. And every single book that I've read for the last 4 years says that that's the Holy Grail. Something about my family and all the people around me must not be right. And if I keep seeing these statistics, I started to ingest that false narrative. I then had to unlearn it once I had my first job working in the community. And it was my patients who really showed me that they could defy the textbooks. They would present with conditions that the textbooks said would definitely lead to the demise of their life within 3 to 4 years, and they were still living. And they were not eating that plate that I saw. And I had to say, like, okay, so there was Maya before the studies. I'm here in the community. It's not linking up with the studies. Let me step back and actually go into the communities, listen to people, listen to the doctors, take classes and workshops, and do a relearning and unlearning. And it was at that point that I really understood the impact of my parents and the work that they did and what it means when you center whiteness in all parts of life, including healthcare. You end up with things that say, if you don't fit that mold, it's your fault because we've now centered whiteness. And so I had to, Brother Tavis, say, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to actually look at all the quote-unquote other folks that include me, and I'm going to look at all the other ways of eating, in quotations, and I'm going to take a look at our experiences throughout the diaspora, and I'm going to look at our disease rates and then realize that in the U.S., folks are sick. We only have about 26% of the population that has no diagnosis. Most people are walking around with 2 or more chronic conditions. When you leave this country, and you can go to places where people are in developing nations and they are living in poverty, and they still have better chronic disease outcomes than we do. But yet we're sitting here telling people that they need to eat grilled chicken, brown rice, and broccoli and follow what we prescribe as wellness in the United States, but it doesn't work. So I had to do the work of saying, okay, let me think about this.
I'm thinking about what you just said, and there are 2 things that I want to interrogate quickly here or give you a chance to expand on. America, I want to phrase this the right way, we love hierarchy. We are a hierarchical society, to say the least. We love, again, hierarchy. And I was fascinated by you suggesting or saying to me a moment ago that you learned from your patients. You are, in part, a philosopher. So I'm asking a philosophical question, not even a question about nutrition right now. But just say a brief word here about the notion of learning from your patients. You feel me on this? Yeah.
So one of the things that happens when anybody becomes a clinician is that hierarchy that you so eloquently pointed out is at the forefront. We are told that we have the credential and we know everything. And when we know everything, that means that people walk in and we can make assumptions based on a bullet list of things. We can look at them and make an assumption based on their body composition. We can make an assumption based on how they're dressed, how they speak, their health literacy, their nutrition literacy, an assumption based on their zip code. That's what we're taught to do And then we rely on all the scientific evidence that backs this up. So we feel like we are, in many ways, correct. The challenge is that when we're taking care of people, we're actually supposed to listen to the people that we're taking care of. But that's not really part of the education. And it is actually, I mean, from a moral perspective, like, everybody has the right to exist. Everybody has the right to health care. Everybody has the right to respectful health care. We're not taught to be respectful to Black and brown folks. We're not taught to be respectful to poor people. In fact, we shame people for not having what we deem to be enough dollars. We shame people for experiencing food apartheid and living in areas where they don't have access to safe, affordable, nutritious food. It's in our books, and then we go out and we create harm. So we actually have to unlearn it and listen to the words that people tell us, and let the patient say, my lived experience is as valuable as what you see on your paper. I matter.
Nope. That's rich. That's rich. The second thing I want to interrogate, and I got 2 minutes to do it, and we'll continue when we come forward, of course, for the rest of the hour. You said this, and it just jumped out at me, and I want to just pause on this point and let you, again, say a bit more in these 2 minutes, that only 26% of the American population is walking around without a medical condition. Just think about that. Only 26% of us are walking around without some kind of medical condition. 90 seconds to you, Maya Feller.
Yes. So, I say this all the time when I'm talking to folks. Your zip code is your largest predictor of your health outcomes. And your zip code is directly linked to your ability to live in a place that is safe, has walkable sidewalks, has full-service grocery stores, has great schools, has quality health care, a community that allows you all of the variables so that you can express your best health possible. And one of the things that we know is because of systemic injustice and inequities that Black, brown, Indigenous, Latinx folks tend to live in areas where we don't have equal access, much less equitable. And so when I'm talking about those ratios of folks, it's directly linked to our zip codes, where we live, and what we have access to.
Her book is called Eating from Our Roots, 80-plus healthy home-cooked favorites from cultures around the world. We will dip into that and a great deal more when we come forward with our esteemed guest in this hour, Maya Feller on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. President Biden is warning the incoming Trump administration of national security issues in a classified memo. It reportedly states that Russia is providing military technology to Iran and North Korea and conducting joint patrols with China. The family of Hannah Kobayashi, who vanished last month, confirms she is safe. She was last seen in Los Angeles in early November. Police say she walked into Mexico on her own. The man accused of trying to assassinate Donald Trump, Ryan Ruth, is requesting his trial be delayed until December 2025. Ruth, who pled not guilty, allegedly waited with a rifle near Trump International Golf Club in September. And six-time Super Bowl winning coach Bill Belichick is set to become the next head coach at North Carolina. After nearly 50 years in the NFL, Belichick will transition to college football at UNC. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
Imagine a photograph of your favorite place in California. Then right in the middle of it, one piece of litter. Litter has no place in our lives, not one piece. Together, let's change that. Clean California. Zero litter is the goal. CleanCA.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Something is going on with LeBron. He was given an excused absence from Wednesday's practice and film session. Lakers coach J.J. Redick said LeBron is taking some time away from the team. LeBron has not been with the team since Sunday's win over Portland. He sat out that game with a sore left foot. Redick is uncertain if LeBron will be with the Lakers for Friday's game at Minnesota. It looks like there's been a change in thinking about Bronny James playing road games in the G League with the South Bay Lakers. LeBron's son will be with South Bay for tonight's game in Tempe, Arizona against the Valley Suns. This will be Bronny's first road game with South Bay. Crucial game for the Rams tonight at San Francisco. The Rams need a win to stay in contention in the NFC West. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford is going for his fifth straight game without an interception. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
On behalf of her precious family, it is with profound sadness that KBLA Talk 1580 announces the passing of our beloved colleague, Robin Ayers, on Thursday, December 5th. Robin was a bright light. You could see her radiant smile through the radio. We all respected her immense talent, loved her jovial spirit, celebrated her love of family, and honored her faith in God. Our thoughts and prayers are with Robin's entire family, most especially her husband Rob and her twin daughters Brooklyn and Madison. We ask you to join us in praying for the Ayers family as they navigate the difficult days ahead. In her honor, all this week, we're broadcasting the Best of the Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SNAP to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SNAP for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SNAP for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay. Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacin-capted Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
And the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Someday at Christmas, men won't be boys, playing with bombs like kids play with toys. One warm December, our hearts will see a world where men are free. Someday at Christmas, there'll be no wars when we have learned what Christmas is for. When we have found what life's really worth, there'll be peace on earth.
I tell you guys all the time that Stevie is the GOAT. And he's the GOAT because no matter what the occasion is, Stevie got something for you. I don't care what the occasion is, Stevie's got a track for you. And that's why Stevland Morris is the GOAT. Love you, Stevie. As a matter of fact, if you're in L.A. This weekend, if you want to come to L.A., if you're in L.A., this weekend is Stevie's annual concert. He does a House of Toys concert every year. I think it's this Friday. Double check me on that, Miles, Faraji, somebody. I think it's this Friday night. If you're in the Southern California area, and if there are tickets still available, this thing sells out every year. But he does a huge concert every year. Last year, he missed it because I guess they couldn't get the venue thing worked out. But it's Saturday night? It's this Saturday. Okay. We missed it last year, but Stevie does an amazing show, and all kinds of artists join him. And he does some great work raising money and toys for these kids. So we love Stevie for his work and his witness. Say nothing of his gift. But that Big Stevie concert is this weekend here in Southern California, if you're around, since we're playing Stevie Wonder. We continue now our conversation with the very interesting Maya Feller. Her book is called Eating from Our Roots. If you weren't listening earlier, you missed a joke. Anyway, the book is called Eating from Our Roots, 80-plus healthy home cooked favorites from cultures around the world. I'm working my way into that book in just a second. Maya, you'll be happy to know that I'm getting questions from people everywhere. I got a bunch of co-hosts apparently today because everybody's got a question from Maya Feller. Let me just throw this one at you first, and we'll get one more in, then we'll get back to what I want to talk about. But anyway, one of my co-hosts is asking or suggesting that I ask you about fast food, processed food, and drinking water. That's a lot, but take it as you will, Maya Feller.
Okay, so I'll go with drinking water first.
Okay.
That one is very, very straightforward. So for every single person, when we're thinking about what do you need in terms of your hydration, the first thing is it really is dependent on your health status. So if you have cardiovascular disease or if you have a fluid restriction, this does not apply to you. This is for well folks who can drink freely. Generally, you want to have your body weight in ounces, half of your body weight in ounces in water per day. You can get about 20% of your hydration needs through produce, so like fruits and vegetables, leafy greens. I have to say, Brother Tavis, I know that many folks are not drinking enough water. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of sugar-sweetened beverage consumption. There's a lot of coffee consumption. There's a lot of alcohol consumption. And we could all stand to have a bit more water. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing that I say about water. Then with the fast foods. So I understand why they exist. Many of us have multiple responsibilities that have made us become divorced from our kitchens. And also grocery shopping, let's be honest, it is not inexpensive these days. And so sometimes when folks are trying to make ends meet, it feels like a fast food option in the moment, costs less than purchasing all of the ingredients needed for a meal. I hear that. My patients tell me, the dietitians in the practice say that patients tell them food is expensive, we get it. The challenge with fast food is that it takes many celebration foods and makes them everyday foods. I heard this concept from Chef Carla Hall, who talked about understanding the difference between the two. And I said, well, that is absolutely spot on and brilliant. Because imagine KFC is taking something that used to be a slow food item and turning it into something that you can have, but it has higher amounts of added sugars, higher amounts of added salts, higher amounts of saturated fat. And so you're now flooding your body on a daily basis with a celebration food. And I talked about this actually in my first cookbook, how many of these things are distant cousins of the foods that we used to make. Like, I mean, no shade to these outfitters, like IHOP, for example. We used to have pancakes on the weekends. This was not an every single morning thing with maple syrup and bacon and potatoes. This was a weekend activity. It was a special time, but these foods now are available at the ready. And then you have lower income neighborhoods that get flooded with the fast food chains and then have fewer full service grocery stores. We, in general, all of us, we eat what's accessible. So if I'm hungry and I'm working from home, I will go down to my refrigerator and I will eat what's in the fridge. If it's something that's nutrient rich, then that's what I'm eating. If it's something that has a lot of added sugar, fat, and salt, then that's what I'm eating because we eat what's accessible to us. I'm really careful, Brother Tavis, when I talk about fast food because I know that it's also linked to socioeconomics, and it's also linked to that zip code that I talked about in the beginning, where you live.
No question, yeah. A quick word about processed food.
All right, so a quick word about processed foods, and this is very, very, very controversial. People have lots of feelings about it. The first thing I'll say is once your food leaves the farm, it is going through some level of processing. We have a world that is growing. We experience climate change. We're going to have migration based on climate crisis. All sorts of things are happening. In the U.S., the majority of our food actually comes from the Central Valley of California, which is our bread basket. If that is compromised, we're going to have a problem with food. I say all of that to say that we're in some way going to need to rely on foods that have been processed because it helps to extend the shelf life. It helps it get across the country. The bad side, and I rarely use the word bad, but I'm going to use it because it's crystal clear, is that many of the processed foods that people interact with are the ones that are flooded with the added sugars, the added salts, saturated fats. So it's not like people are out there saying, I'm buying a bag of frozen green beans.
Yeah.
It's something that's got a whole bunch of things added to it. And that, again, too, is linked to the zip code. It's linked to time. There are so many variables. And I'm very careful because I know that there are neighborhoods where those foods, the processed foods, are placed. And that is really about socioeconomics. It's about race, but it's absolutely about socioeconomics. So you go into dollar stores in any low-income area, and the shelves are filled with things that can stand the test of time. Yeah. If it can stand the test of time, when it goes into your body, I can tell you that your body is not too thrilled from an inflammatory perspective.
Yeah. I get it. As I said, I got a bunch of co-hosts. I'm getting all kind of questions. I don't have time to squeeze them all in. But Miles, who you talk to on the phone, he's the guy you talk to when you come on the air. Miles, my board op, has a question. So put your mic down, Miles, and ask your question. And I'll let Maya Feller answer it when we come forward. But let's get the question out now, Miles.
Doc, I was just curious. I was learning about what's called toxic versus tonic diets. Toxic versus tonic. Tonic being toxic. We all know what toxic is. It's the breaking down the body. Tonic actually to help grow the body, help improve the body. I was curious about if you have any tonic diets that are culturally acceptable and, probably pretty good for our culture around this time, especially during the holiday season.
So that's Miles's question, toxic versus tonic diets. We'll let Maya Feller respond to that and more when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Are you an entrepreneur looking to take your business to new heights? KBLA Talk 1580 is your partner in success. Every day, we celebrate and elevate Black-owned businesses across our community. Our KBLA SMB Marketplace currently features The Cookie Dip, Badass Bakes, Hair Concoction, Higher Education Accreditation Consulting, LACC Radiology Technology Department, and Malik Books. Your business deserves to be heard. Let KBLA Talk 1580 amplify your voice and connect you with our powerful community of listeners. Email smb@kbla1580.com today. That's smb@kbla1580.com. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Freedom is an endless meeting, so let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
All right, Maya Feller, let's address toxic versus tonic, and then we'll get straightway into this book, Eating from Our Roots, 80-plus healthy home-cooked favorites from cultures around the world. That is the most recent book from Maya Feller. But first, toxic versus tonic.
So I have to tell you, Brother Tavis, I had to look it up because I have not heard of toxic versus tonic diets. So, Miles, you're going to have to put me on because I'm new to those two terms.
It's just the idea that we do all this stuff to we eat all these foods that are going to break us down, leading us down the road of getting sick, needing medicine, as opposed to eating healthy foods, energizing foods, foods that are built to prevent these diseases, but, these don't taste as well. And, figuring out how to blend the stuff in.
Yes. Okay. So sometimes in nutrition, we talk about pro-inflammatory versus anti-inflammatory, right? And so the pro-inflammatory would be a quote-unquote toxic pattern of eating. And in general, one of the things that we say is that when we eat, we're feeding ourselves. And when we give ourselves an abundance of nutrient-dense foods, and I put herbs and spices in there because that's what makes the food taste good, it's also good for ourselves. So garlic, onion, bell pepper, celery, thyme, sage, cumin, black pepper, like all the spices. And believe it or not, every single one of those spices actually has a profile that does something beneficial in the human body. This is why I said I had to unlearn, Miles, is because when I looked around the diaspora and I saw the flavor that was in the food, I started to notice also food pairings, things like rice and beans together, or pairing green bananas with a protein. Those things now we've researched them and we see how beneficial they are. So what I actually say is lean back into food ways that are more in line with how ancestors from around the world ate and our ancestors here in the U.S., because that stuff is actually what's good for our body.
It's a straight way into the book now. I love the setup, my fella. You're good at this. That answer takes me straight inside the book. When we come forward, our remaining moments will be spent allowing Maya Feller to talk about the book, Eating from Our Roots, 80-plus healthy home-cooked favorites from cultures around the world. Delighted to have Maya Feller right now on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
If you're facing an unexpected financial emergency, you need WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com can help you get up to $3,000 fast. Simply fill out the form and get an answer in 2 minutes. WeFixMoney.com is free to use, available 24/7, and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Trust the name you know. WeFixMoney.com. For emergency cash up to $3,000, type WeFixMoney.com directly in your browser. That's WeFixMoney.com.
I was so excited when I heard the sandwich was back. What's up? This is Mike.
And this is Celia.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich
is the symphony of flavors. You can always count on that crispy, tender, juicy chicken. It's so good.
My favorite part is the pimento cheese. Topped off with the honey, it all comes together perfectly. I like the original.
I like the spicy chicken fillet. But either way,
you're getting a winner.
The Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is back with a bite. Try it with the original or spicy filet, now for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
All right, my fellow, I got just about 5 minutes left. I will yield every minute of it to you to take us inside this book as you will. It's called Eating from Our Roots, 80-plus healthy home-cooked favorites from cultures around the world. The last 5 minutes, Maya, take it away.
All righty, here we go. So I want to remind all of your listeners that you have inherent knowledge in your body. You have the ability to listen internally, and your body will actually tell you what's going on. We've been divorced from that, the same way that we've been divorced from our kitchens. And in this cookbook, I invite people to return to that internal listening that is specifically centered around your cultural foodways, beloved and comfort foods. And I want to be clear. When I look around the globe, specifically the African diaspora, I see an abundance of plants, an abundance of colorful foods that are nutrient dense, that are the central pattern of eating, and those are directly linked with positive health outcomes. So in the book, what I wanted to do was recenter foods from the diaspora and all over the globe with taste, flavor, and culture at the center, and also invite folks back into the kitchen. So as you enter into this holiday season, I say, what are the plants that you know, that you like, and you love, right? So if you like collards, if you like Swiss chard, if you like spinach, you like arugula, you like eggplant, you like zucchini. If you like them and you love them, how can you season them? The same way that you think about your animal proteins, how can you season your plants so that they can become a central part of your eating pattern? And in the book, every dish, and I worked with 7 different chefs from various backgrounds, and I was very intentional. So everyone that I worked with is either a person of color or a woman. And the idea is, how can we make you return back to your plate to eat something that loves your body back? And the reason that I want people to actually have joy when they eat is because there's actually a mechanism that happens where when we're in a restful state and a joyful state, our body is actually better able to digest. And actually before, Miles and I spoke really briefly about toxic stress. And one of the things in this book that I do talk a lot about is how do I get you to find joy in the act of eating? Because I know that that's one of the antidotes to something that we as Black and brown folks experience significantly on the day-to-day, which is that toxic stress. How can I bring our foods back to the center? How can I bring them in their whole minimally processed form? I want them to be that, not the cousin, but I want them to be the thing that the aunt or the uncle or the granny or the grandpa made. And I want the bread to be broken in community so that it can really nourish not only our bodies, but feed our souls. That's really the central part of the book for me. And then taking folks across the world. One of the things that I saw, Brother Tavis, as I was doing the research for the book was that flavors that would show up in Portugal actually came from Africa. When we talk about the Mediterranean, we often hear France and Italy, but you know there are 22 nations, including nations from North Africa, that are part of the Mediterranean and have equally good health outcomes and also similar patterns of eating. So the book is really a flavor journey, but it's also an exploration that allows the reader to say, I want to go somewhere different. And it's also not precious. That's very important to me, right? I want you in your kitchen, use it as a roadmap. Make mistakes, add things, have fun.
I love that term, flavor journey. It is a flavor journey. And Maya Feller is doing her best to show us that healthy and tasty can coexist. It's an amazing book. It's called Eating from Our Roots, 80-plus healthy home-cooked favorites from cultures around the world. I love the book, but I even love as much, if not more, this conversation. Maya Feller, I have enjoyed this immensely, and I mean that sincerely. Thank you for this time, and happy holidays to you.
Thank you so much, Brother Tavis. Happy holidays to you as well.
Just like that, 3 hours gone. Tomorrow is Friday, so tomorrow the best of Tavis Smiley. We got a lot of stuff to choose from. This week's been an amazing week. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the best of Tavis Smiley. Until then, thanks for tuning in. As always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. President Biden is warning the incoming Trump administration of national security issues in a classified memo. It reportedly states that Russia is providing military technology to Iran and North Korea and conducting joint patrols with China. The family of Hana Kobayashi, who vanished last month, confirms she is safe. She was last seen in Los Angeles in early November. Police say she walked into Mexico on her own. The man accused of trying to assassinate Donald Trump, Ryan Ruth, is requesting his trial be delayed until December 2025. Ruth, who pled not guilty